Bihar were not being recorded. But these are again numbers, indexes. We talk about where do we get investments from. See, how I see from my experience while facilitating investors is that the ecosystem is now beginning to change. The heavy flywheel that had so much of inertia is starting to move just about since 2-3 years in terms of industrial investments. And the first few years we're going to see heavy investments at least going to be largely biased towards domestic investors. Foreign portfolio investors is a far away thing. Let's not even think about that. Let's get the domestic investor ecosystem set. There are 4 pillars to investments, and I think this will come up again and again, so I want to talk about this. First is the opportunity that a state has. That is the product, right? Think of this as government to businesses. Government has an opportunity for businesses to invest, and they're trying to sell it to businesses. The first is the opportunity. The second is the infrastructure that is around that opportunity. Third is the promotion, the discount schemes, the industrial policies that are there. And the fourth is the facilitation, basically, hand-holding that the government provides. Bihar is making strides in all these 3. Eventually, it will come down to promotion and marketing, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, right now, if we can build a great reputation among domestic investors who are heavily investing in manufacturing units in Bihar, and you might be surprised to hear this when I'm using the word heavily investing. But let me give you a number here. In the last Bihar Business Connect in 2024, MOUs worth 1.8 lakh crores were signed. Now that is a massive number. Now if you talk about 5% conversion, I know MOUs is a very misused term out there, but 5% of that converted, and if you look at the numbers there and number of jobs, we're looking at about 1.5 to 2 lakh jobs created out of these on a conservative side. So things are starting to change. The impact of this will be seen after 4 or 5 years, bare minimum. People are investing right now, companies will start, projects will start getting commissioned 2 to 3 years, employment will be generated then, and then, livelihoods will start changing. So expect to see change in maybe 3 to 4 years starting to happen. Change is a slow and long process.
Fair. Totally agree. Also agree with the point that based on the different categories of investors, domestic investors are the ones that we're talking about right now. Post that we go to foreign investors, post that we talk about the institutional investors that are just coming for capital returns. Having spent so much time at the G2B, the government to business interface, essentially advising governments to sell better to businesses, to present themselves as better opportunity there. Over the past decades, over the past, say 2 decades, 3 decades, what are the few opportunities that we have missed so far, unfortunately? Every 5 year we have a new 5-year plan by the government. I'm talking about the central government. There are clear tailwinds associated with that. The last one, it was infra, climate, defense. Before that, some time back, IT was of course a major focus area. Things haven't panned out well for us due to, of course, multiple reasons. But maybe would love for you to dive deep on the 4 pillars that you talked about, around what's missing. Is it the vision? Is it the standard that we are setting for ourselves as a state? Is it the strategy that's falling off somewhere, or are we just talking about the execution failure? Is it the outcome that's somehow not being given? What's missing here?
Absolutely. So before that, I'll just give a brief about Invest India so that there's a bit of more context here. So Invest India essentially is the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency of Government of India under Ministry of Commerce. And our job, like the name suggests, we are promoting investments coming into India and then facilitating them, that is hand-holding them. Now, when you talk about Bihar specifically, and you talk about the 4 pillars, let's take them one by one. The first is the industry, the opportunity in Bihar. We've got a population of 13 crores, that's right, 13 crores. That's about almost 9% of the country's population. We've got the highest population density across India. We're about 1100 people per square kilometer, right? Now, if you look at this, the demographic dividend for any business here is very high as long as the product is being consumed domestically. That is given. So suddenly, because of spending power increasing across India, you see food processing companies setting up local to the consumer base. So you also have Varun Beverages setting up a plant in India. You also have one of the bottlers for Coca-Cola setting up a plant in Bihar. Next, what we see is that, so essentially the opportunity is definitely there, and opportunity varies sector-wise. For example, let's take up textiles. Now, textiles is supposed to create the most number of jobs per crore of investment. It's about 70 jobs per crore of investment. And Bihar government has slightly started to focus on textiles because we have a lot, we need to create employment. Let's focus on textiles. That's also what a lot of other state governments are doing. Now, interestingly, Bihar exports the largest number of migrant laborers down south to places like Tirupur, where they're working as migrant laborers. So the idea is to bring back this already trained diaspora and employ them locally, where they don't have to pay rent, they don't have to live away from family, and they can work here. So on and so forth, in multiple sectors. So the industrial opportunity is there for players, right? The second part is the infrastructure. Obviously, gone are the days where you just said, okay, you set up a land, we give you a piece of land. You need to have developed industrial parks. It means you have to have civil infrastructure in place, you have to have electricity lines, you have to have power, you need to have effluent treatment plans for polluting industries, because we're also focusing heavily on sustainability. Now, the Bihar government, and these are again numbers that might seem like I'm promoting the government of Bihar, but these are numbers I'm talking about. Industrial land is getting out of stock in Bihar. We had acres of land in places like Muzaffarpur and industrial area, Muzaffarpur and Bela industrial area, in Mega Food Park in Motipur and other places. Now they're all getting out of stock. I have investors coming in and say, I need 20 acres of land, and I have to tell them, boss, I don't have 20 acres right now, please wait. We are, the government of Bihar is in the process of acquiring new land banks. After acquiring these land banks, they have to be made at world standard level. While our land banks are good, we need to learn from what's happening out there in Gujarat and also maybe in countries like Vietnam and Thailand, which are pulling out, which are receiving sizable investments that are competing directly with India, these smaller countries. So that is one part, obviously. So industrial infrastructure has to be in place. The third part, of course, remains the industrial policy, and that is something that comes out of the state's revenue department, the finance department. Basically, this is like a promotional scheme. So basically, when OnePlus came to the market, they were selling phones. They were selling phones for a little cheaper, but they had a great product. So you trusted them because they were a little cheaper, right? Similarly, government of Bihar has to offer, any state government has to offer good incentive benefits, subsidies and all that, and that you can do on paper. But the most important part is the fourth one, facilitation. Now imagine you ordered this OnePlus phone from an e-commerce website, and you did not know if you'll get a phone or a brick or a Vim bar soap in that box of phone. You will probably not buy from that website. Right? You have to be assured that what the government or the seller is saying, you will get that. That is the facilitation part, which is a learning game.
That's the customer service.
That's the customer service part. And your business, that investor, the CEOs coming to your round table to invest or to do that MOU,